husky.
Good morning, it's another day, my friend. But soon the sunshine turns to moonlight, life goes on. You take some time to say goodnight, you close your eyes to dream next thing, tomorrow's here again.
It's a brand new day, never hold on to hate, cause you was placed here to be great. Please take your place. All queens got a seat at my table, cause without y'all, then the man ain't able. Melanated queen, connected to the universe, and so I gotta thank my mom for my birth. If hate is the curse, then love is the remedy. So I send you love no matter creed or identity. Until infinity, look at you like you kin to me. Even when we disagree, yo, you still kin to me. In other words, I can't bring you no trouble, can't bring you no beef, don't wanna see you deceased. Now if I'm coming at you, I'm coming with a business plan, cause every day I'm on some, yo, let's get this money, man. Yeah, and that's my real plans. I rest my head at night, I wake up, I got another plan.
Good morning, it's another day, my friend. But soon the sunshine turns to moonlight, life goes on. You take some time to say goodnight, you close your eyes to dream next thing, tomorrow's here again.
It's a lot of high rappers tell me why we don't get money together, but we'll kill each other over whatever. Running down the freeway, we gonna own down. If Black Lives Matter, why we gonna own down? That's why they laugh and they think that we clowns. They hear what we say, but see how we get down. We gotta change that now, right now to be exact, cause hurting that man's moms is not where it's at now. Old school, new school need to learn, yo. They put us in groups so they can make more dough. The young versus the old versus the young, black versus white, you see the pattern, right? No unity, keep them all on some gutter-ish. This way they don't prosper and get rich. Yo, can't you see it's a trick? Just open your third eye and you'll see the full view of it. Now yo, what if the powers that be know that the real power lies within the people? That's us. And what if they using things like crayon colors, black and white, to separate the people? Hey, yo, you gotta wake up. Don't let them fool y'all. Spread love.
Good morning, it's another day, my friend. But soon the sunshine turns to moonlight, life goes on. You take some time to say goodnight, you close your eyes to dream next thing, tomorrow's. Good morning, it's another day, my friend. But soon the sunshine turns to moonlight, life goes on. You take some time to say goodnight, you close your eyes to dream next thing, tomorrow's here again. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
All right, y'all know what to do. Do me a favor, drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. Let's go ahead and get into it. Shout out to everybody who's in the building. Happy Monday, y'all. Happy Labor Day. Hope y'all had a good weekend. Hopefully everybody is doing well. All right, it looks like we're in here. Let me see how we looking. Yes, sir. Looking all crispy and clean on the screen. Good to see y'all on this Monday, this Labor Day as well. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the Music Morning Show. I'm your host, ClassE Beats of ClassEbeats.com. Today, we're going to do a little bit of a rewind. All right, y'all know what time it is. We are not in court today. We're going to be resuming the YSL trial tomorrow, but I've got a lot of things I want to cover. We talked over on last Friday about plea deals and what some of these plea deals would look like. A lot of y'all were wondering if any plea deals had been offered, what Lil Woody's immunity deal looked like, what possibly could have been going on there. So we're going to get into some of the plea deals that were offered in the past and what possibly could be offered by the prosecution coming up this next week. So we're going to look at one case specifically. We're going to talk about Monktoon. A lot of y'all know he did take a plea deal along with a couple other of the co-defendants. and we're going to go back and look into what happened there. And I'll give you guys some details on exactly what his plea deal looked like. And I think y'all are going to be shocked. So it's going to be interesting to see. But happy Labor Day, man. What are y'all doing this Labor Day? Y'all know I'm here working. We don't take any days off. But hopefully some of y'all are getting to enjoy your day off, time with the family, all that good stuff. Let me see who is all in the building. I know we got a bunch of y'all up in here. We got Factual Liars up in here. Good to see you. Vivian Cooper's in the building. We've got Adrienne is in here. Rebecca Hoover's in the building. We got Patty, excuse me. Let me put some respect on Patty's name. Sean is in here. We got H&K is in the building. Says good morning. Brooklyn says good morning. Shout out to Brooklyn. Got to chop it up with Brooklyn on Friday. We've got Steph Love is in here. Good to see you. Amy is in the building too. Y'all give it up for Amy in here. We got Lightning Strikes. Who else is in the building? We've got Jay Buckmaster is in here. I think I said what's up to Sean. We've got Kristen Vasquez is in here. Daryl, Sarah. Oh man, hold on. Let's skip down. Sarah, Mimi is in the building. Out of Order is up in here as well. And shout out to You Don't Know Trek. Okay, I see you in here. We've got Shy's in the building. Yo Daddy Sports is up in here. We've got V, K Barrett. Laura is in the building. All right, y'all give it up for Laura up in here. And did I miss anybody? I think I got everyone. All right. I don't ask for much on this show, but y'all know there is one thing I will beg for every single show that we have. If y'all could do me one favor, it's super easy to do. It's free. Takes like 5 seconds. If you could like the video, not only is it free, not only does it help the show continue to grow, but it lets the algorithm know that you are enjoying the show and it shares it with more people. So if y'all could take a second and do that for me, I would absolutely appreciate it. And happy Labor Day, says Wood Drummer. Yeah, good to see you in here, man. What are y'all up to on this Labor Day? Let me know. And shout out to Sean Hines. He said he's out here in St. Louis. We've got Trek says good morning. Mimi says great day, ClassE mod in chat. Good to see you. And Brooklyn says taking a day off the YSL trial. Yeah, so court will be back tomorrow morning, and y'all know we will be back covering the trial live tomorrow morning as well. Amy is reminding y'all to like the video as always. And who else? Rebecca said we already have 100 likes up in here. Looks like we're up to 178. I appreciate y'all. Wood Drummer said he's just being lazy. Oh man, Jazzy is doing it right. Says they got a barbecue over there. Miss Priss is in the building. Good morning. Karen says great channel. Thank you, Karen. We do our best. We're trying. AM3 is up in here. Good morning. Rebecca says she's doing nothing. That's how you're supposed to do it. And then we've got Bridgetta up in here. Says good morning as well. All right, so it looks like we got most of y'all in here. Let's go ahead and get into our first topic if y'all are ready. Let me double check and make sure we're all good. And let me know how the volume is, y'all, too, because I know on some of these videos, the volume is at a good level. Some of them, the volume is pretty low. So let me know before we get started, and then I'll get everything locked in. Also, oh, shout out to Wood Drummer. He said he got his beanie. Shout out to the beanie gang. Yeah, I'm glad you finally got it, Wood Drummer. That's dope. And then Sarah says she's working. Well, Sarah, we out here getting the bag. Don't complain. While they sleep and while they're over there eating their ribs, we out here getting the money. You know what I'm talking about? So the volume is good. I'm her, says sounds good. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. So let me do this. So a lot of y'all know trial isn't in today, but this past Friday, we talked a lot about plea deals going down, especially after Woody got absolutely annihilated by Max Shart in cross-examination. I had a feeling a lot more of these plea deals were going to be brought forward by the prosecution just because so far it's not looking like they were prepared and able to handle this case as well as they thought they would. So we haven't heard anything about new plea deals yet, but I wanted to kind of rewind and talk about some of the plea deals that were presented or that were actually taken in the past, and specifically the plea deal that was given to Anthony Sledge, aka Montauk. Y'all have heard him mentioned in the past couple of weeks, and he also is on the witness list as well, so he may end up testifying here soon at some point. But I want to go ahead and get into his court proceedings and talk about what happened leading up to that, and then we're going to actually take a deep dive and look into what exactly was included in his plea deal, so y'all can see exactly how the state is crafting some of these plea deals and how they're pushing a lot of these defendants and co-defendants to testify against Young Thug. So check this out. This first video is when he was in court. He had spoken with his attorney, and then they're actually meeting and before the recused Judge Glanville, we'll put it that way. So y'all check it out. Let me know what you think, and let me know if the volume is good too.
All right, we're on the record in the matter of the state of Georgia versus Antonio Sledge in 22 SC 183572. Good afternoon, Mr. Wright.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sledge.
Hey, good morning, Kat.
And good afternoon, counsels Love and Hilton. Okay, counsels, I understand this is supposed to be a negotiated plea. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
All right, Mr. Sledge, can I get you to raise your right hand as best you're able?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give in the matter now in hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God, or so affirm?
Yes, I do.
All right, you put your hand down, sir. All right. Mr. Sledge, over the next several minutes, what's going to happen is we're going to go through such a thing called the providency inquiry. So basically, in our system of jurisprudence, we don't force people to plead guilty. So I have to be assured you understand your constitutional rights and that you freely and voluntarily waive those rights so I can go ahead and sentence you. The second thing it does is we go through a factual basis, and I determine if there's a factual basis that the state would have been able to prove in this case beyond a reasonable doubt had they tried the case. So assuming that I find that you understand your rights, we call it the Boykin inquiry. And then the second thing is, then I find that there's a factual basis I can accept your plea. So, ladies, which one of you is going to do the plea?
And y'all will notice too, as we go throughout this plea deal specifically, a lot of the guys who are mentioned in this RICO, it's unfortunate just because the reason many of them are taking the pleas is because they had either something silly like a possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and then they lump that into the RICO conspiracy, kind of similar to what we heard with Lil Woody when he got picked up as he was playing basketball, which kind of spiraled everything out from there. So it's interesting to see how a lot of these guys are getting caught up in the same things, and you'll see that here in the Sledge case.
I am, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Love is going to go and ask you a series of questions in just a minute, and then your attorney, Mr. Wright, will follow up with that, and then I'll ask you a couple of questions, and I should be able to sentence you in accordance with the negotiated plea. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Ms. Love, whenever you're ready, madam.
Thank you, Judge.
No, he took a plea deal. We'll talk about it.
Mr. Sledge, please state your true, correct, and legal name.
Antonio Sledge.
And are you the same Antonio Sledge, also known as Moontum, who is listed in indictment 22 SC 183572?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medication?
No, ma'am.
Is there any medication that you normally take that you have not been given today?
Got Miss Love up there.
How old are you and how far have you gone in school?
I'm 41, 10th grade.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you are charged with the following offenses?
Yes, ma'am.
Conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act,
Yes, ma'am.
as well as possession of a firearm by a convicted felon,
Yes,
as
ma'am.
listed in count 30 of this indictment.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges, and that if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had enough time to speak with your attorney, Mr. Derek Wright, about all of the facts and circumstances known to you regarding the charges in this indictment?
Yes, ma'am.
Any potential defenses?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you need more time to discuss this case with your attorney?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with his services?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive a formal reading of the indictment?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive any and all defects in the indictment, including any with respect to your name?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you been arrested on these charges?
Yes, ma'am.
The state is unaware of any
go
outstanding
through
warrants
all
related to these charges. Do you, Mr. Wright, know of any outstanding warrants that are related to these charges?
I do not.
Mr. Sledge, has your attorney advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence for each charge that you are pleading guilty to
Yes,
today?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that the minimum sentence for conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act is 5 years and the maximum is 20 years in prison?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that the sentence for violation of count 30 of this indictment, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon,
There's
as
your
in
possession.
OCGA 1611-133, is 15 years in prison?
Yes, ma'am.
15 years. We got to change some of this stuff. 15 years for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Did y'all know that? I know some of y'all in the chat know this and remember seeing this too. Whew. Crazy. Can you imagine, especially if it's not a violent crime?
Do you
15 years.
understand that this is a negotiated plea of guilty,
Yes, ma'am.
which means that the state will recommend to the court the following sentence?
Yes, ma'am.
As to count 1, 15 years to serve on probation, subject to the special conditions contained in the plea agreement that I have in my hand that I will show you in just a moment. And on count 30, although you are pleading guilty, sentencing will be withheld until the completion of the initial trial of this case. After the trial of this case,
That's
initial
crazy.
trial of this case, provided defendant you have complied with the special conditions outlined in sections B, C, D, F, and I of section 3, special conditions of sentence of this plea agreement, the state agrees that the defendant shall be allowed to withdraw his guilty plea on count 30, and the state shall agree to null pros count 30. Do you understand that the court does not have to accept that recommendation? And we will read into the record the terms of the plea agreement in a moment.
He has a
Do you
copy.
understand
He saw
that?
it.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that the court can sentence you to the maximum on each charge and can run those sentences consecutively or one after the other if the court does not accept that negotiated plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, so he had a gun and he was indicted on the RICO. Sheesh. What up, though, S. Dot? Thank you for
Do
your
you
service, John.
understand that if you are currently on probation or parole, your probation or parole may be revoked based on your entering a guilty plea today, but that the state is not recommending either?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that this plea may be used to enhance sentencing on other convictions in this jurisdiction, as well as in other jurisdictions, including in the federal courts?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that this is a guilty plea which is permanently recorded on your criminal history?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that this plea involves your being placed on probation, and that if you are placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit or any special condition of probation without being subject to revocation for the balance of the sentence? Do you understand that?
Yes,
Gotta
ma'am.
keep your nose clean.
Do you understand that you are not allowed to use or possess a firearm while on probation?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you are not a United States citizen, a guilty plea will affect your immigration status and will result in deportation, just like a conviction at trial would, and that this is true regardless of any advice given to you by your attorney or anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if at any time you are sentenced to confinement based on this
Good morning, Mel.
sentence, neither the court, your attorney, nor the district attorney's office has anything to do with parole. And that in that circumstance, the Department of Corrections or Board of Pardons and Paroles
Yes, ma'am.
are the only persons who can address parole, and that no one can guarantee parole, no matter what anyone has told you.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that there may be other adverse or unfavorable consequences as a result of this guilty plea conviction, just as there would be from a conviction following a trial? For example, your guilty plea may affect your right to vote, your right to hold public office, your right to serve on a jury, your right to obtain a passport, your right to receive, possess, or transport a firearm, and your right or ability to obtain employment. Do you understand that these rights may be affected?
Yes, ma'am.
You know what this makes me think of, and we'll keep going through this in a minute. Y'all remember with Woody saying that the police put a gun on him? Think of how scary it is to have a felony. And no wonder Young Thug doesn't want a felony on his record. You get stopped by a police officer. And I'm not saying all cops are dirty, all cops are evil. There are good cops out there, there are bad cops, right? But you've got a felony. You get stopped by a police officer, or a police officer's having a bad day and they know you have a felony and they have a gun, which we know this is the case. Police officers having throwaways, or whatever term you want to use to call them, and they have a gun there. You get arrested. The police officer says, hey, there was a gun in the car. And this was the only person in the car, right? They were walking down the street and they had a gun in their pants. Similar to what Lil Woody said. I mean, you're looking at 15 years? $15 years. This system is so messed up in so many ways, man. And that's something so simple. And a lot of these guys get caught up that way too. And even if you're not actually the one who has the weapon, there's someone near you. If you're in a car with somebody else who has a weapon, you can get in trouble for that too if you have a felony. It's crazy.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, if you use, receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or use a firearm in a crime, you will be guilty of another felony, which may carry a sentence of 1 to 15 years in prison?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand
15
that you
years.
waive any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses, by entering a plea of guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you would have the right to trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and confront witnesses called to testify against you, and the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself?
Good morning,
Yes,
Kirsty.
ma'am.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you are giving up the following rights: the right to a trial by jury, the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself, the right to confront witnesses against you, the right to the assistance of counsel hired by you or to court-appointed counsel if you cannot afford an attorney at a trial of your case, the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to testify on your own behalf and to present other evidence, the right to subpoena witnesses and compel the production of evidence, the right to have the charges against you proven beyond a reasonable doubt, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after a trial. Do you understand that you are giving up all of these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
I'm
Morris.
showing you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 1AS. Do you recognize the document in State's Exhibit 1AS?
I mean, y'all understand you can get a felony for shoplifting? It's crazy. And thank you to Morris for showing love, man. I appreciate you. You can get a felony for shoplifting. And I think in Georgia, there's an amount limit. And we had a lot of cases like this when I was serving on the grand jury of people who were shoplifting. And then it was their first time and second time and third time. And then boom, you get hit with the felony charge. It's just crazy. Yeah, in Georgia, you can.
Yes, ma'am.
Right here in Fulton County.
And is that your signature on page 7 of 7 of State's Exhibit 1AS?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, actually, and Mr. Sledge, have you had an opportunity to review each and every provision within State's Exhibit 1AS?
Yes, ma'am.
As reflected on State's Exhibit 1AS, the current charges that you face are count 1, conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act.
Thank you, Kat.
And count 30, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon previously convicted of a felony involving the use or possession of a firearm, OCGA 16-11-133. The negotiated sentence as outlined in State's 1AS is count 1, 15 years on probation, and count 30, sentencing withheld until the completion of the initial trial of this case. After the initial trial of this case, provided defendant has complied with the special conditions outlined in Section B as in boy, C as in Charlie, D as in Delta, F as in Frank, I as in Indigo of Section 3 special conditions of sentence of this plea agreement, the state agrees that defendant shall be allowed to withdraw his guilty plea on count 30, and the state shall agree to null pros count 30. The special conditions of the sentence, as outlined in Section 3, are that defendant shall abide in full by each and all of the terms of this negotiated agreement. Defendant's failure to abide by any term of this agreement shall constitute a violation of the agreement. Defendant shall testify truthfully about all matters relating to this case upon which he is questioned at any trial or judicial proceeding stemming from the facts alleged in this indictment. In accordance with testifying truthfully about all matters relating to this case, defendant acknowledges that each and all of the statements contained within the defendant's factual acknowledgements section of this agreement are true. Defendant shall testify truthfully about each statement contained within defendant's factual acknowledgements and any matters related to this case when asked to do so in any proceeding related to the facts alleged in this indictment. Defendant shall possess no guns unless his right to do so is restored. Defendant shall commit no criminal acts. Defendant shall submit to random drug screenings by the Department of Community Supervision and any agency designated by the court in this case. Should the defendant test positive for any Schedule 1, 2, or 3 drug, defendant shall within 30 days of said positive test undergo drug rehabilitation as designated by the court or the Department of Community Supervision and shall successfully complete said rehabilitation program. Defendant relinquishes any Fifth Amendment right related to any statement contained within defendant's factual acknowledgements contained within this plea agreement. Section 4, defendant's factual acknowledgements. Have you initialed each and all of the defendant's factual acknowledgements contained within Section 4 of this document?
Yes, ma'am.
And we're going to go through those here in a second, the factual things that he initialed. So we're going to go step by step and I'm going to show y'all exactly what he agreed to. Well, let me rewind this real quick and I want y'all to listen to what she said.
Initialed each and all of the defendant's factual acknowledgements contained within Section 4 of this document.
Now, the factual acknowledgements are interesting. We talked about this when we were looking at Lil Woody's immunity deal and some of the things he was allowed to say and wasn't allowed to say. The factual acknowledgements y'all will see once we get into it are absolutely crazy. One of those things has to do with Big Nut. I'm sure y'all can guess exactly what that is. Also, shout out to Kat Not Williams. We had to take a break for a second. She gifted 5 memberships in the chat. If you got a membership from Kat, make sure that you say thank you. Make sure you show her some love and y'all go check out and subscribe to her YouTube channel. She does some amazing videos, amazing live streams. I've seen her on some dope panels as well. So make sure you go over, subscribe to her channel. She's growing like crazy and puts out some great content as well. So, and I'm sure Kat's going to be live tomorrow too. So y'all make sure you go support and show her some love. Also, I had one more thing I wanted to read to y'all too. So Miss Love mentioned about withdrawing or him withdrawing his guilty plea. And I want to kind of explain to you what that would look like if he were to do that or why he would do that, right? So withdrawing a guilty plea in Georgia after taking a plea deal, it's a little bit complicated, but here's what would need to happen, right? So the timing, you can request to withdraw your guilty plea anytime before the judge officially sentences you. This is the easiest time to do it. Now, the sentencing, as y'all will see once we get further into this video, is going to take place right away in this instance. After sentencing, you can withdraw a guilty plea as well. If you've already been sentenced, withdrawing a guilty plea is much harder. You can file a motion to withdraw the guilty plea, usually within the same court that handled your case. You must show that there's a good reason for withdrawing your guilty plea, like not understanding the consequences of the plea, being pressured into it, sound familiar? Or your rights being violated in some way. Maybe an ex parte meeting or two. I don't know. We won't get into that though. Court decision. The judge will hold a hearing to consider your request. You'll need to present evidence supporting your reasons for wanting to withdraw the plea. The court has discretion to grant or deny the motion. If denied, you may appeal the decision, but appeals are also challenging and require strong legal grounds. It's highly advisable. This is all just crazy. It's just saying that you got to consult your legal representative or your attorney if you're been sentenced and you want to withdraw your guilty plea, which is interesting because those rules do not apply to immunity. And we saw this with Woody again. He didn't want the immunity. He didn't want to testify. And the state just said, here you go. Now you got to testify. It's crazy, man. Let's keep going though.
Yeah,
and thank you
ma'am.
to Kat.
And is that initial AS your initial?
Yes, ma'am.
The factual acknowledgements are as follows. Number 1, Young Slime Life, aka YSL, is an organization made up of 3 or more members or associates who share common identifiers that include, but are not limited to, colors, hand signals, and terminology, who have committed crimes intended to increase the notoriety, street credibility, and reputation of YSL. Number 2, defendant has been a member and or associate of YSL since 2012. Number 3, while associated with YSL and to support and express loyalty to YSL, defendant and co-defendant Demekion Garlington and Quindarius Zachary appeared in a video with another person, AS, where defendant brandished a weapon used in a drive-by shooting, and where on behalf of YSL, defendant threatened to harm a person named Kel, a rival gang member, who had begun a relationship with defendant's ex-girlfriend. Number 4, on or about April 28, 2015, as reflected in Fulton County Indictment 15SC 138994, defendant and fellow YSL associates Demekion Garlington and Quindarius Zachary committed a drive-by shooting using the firearm defendant wielded in the video referenced in Part 3 of this section, targeting family members of a rival gang. Number 5, defendant and his fellow YSL associates committed the drive-by shooting referenced in sections 3 and 4 above on behalf of YSL and to increase the notoriety, reputation, and fear of YSL. Number 6, defendant admitted committing and was convicted of aggravated assault and participation in criminal street gang activity, among other charges, for his participation in the drive-by shooting referenced in sections 3, 4, and 5 above. Number 7, defendant was told by another YSL associate that immediately after the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr., YSL associates met at the McDonald's on Cleveland Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia to discuss the murder.
Yep.
Number 8, defendant personally knows that one or more YSL associates committed the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr. on behalf of YSL. Number 9, on January the 10th, 2015, after the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr., defendant and other YSL associates gathered at the home of Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, who gave defendant and other YSL associates cash money to lay low. Number 10, defendant has personal knowledge that on January 10, 2015, after the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr., YSL Associates traveled to Miami, Florida with co-defendant and YSL founder Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug.
Allegedly.
Number 11, defendant did not murder Donovan Thomas Jr. and was not a party to the crime. Number
Woo, that sounds familiar to y'all. Defendant did not. They love putting that in these immunity deals and these pleas. The defendant did not murder Donovan Thomas. Boy, they really want to get your boy Young Thug. Crazy.
12, defendant did not murder Shamel Drinks and was not a party to the crime. Number 13, defendant cannot truthfully assert that the persons charged in this indictment with the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr. are not guilty of the murder, and defendant will make no attempt at trial, prior to trial, or after trial to exonerate the persons charged in this indictment with the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr. Number 14, the gas station at 151 Cleveland Avenue, Atlanta, Georgia, is one of multiple locations where YSL Associates sell drugs and do not allow other gangs to operate. Number 15, the gas station at 221 Cleveland Avenue, Atlanta, Georgia, is another location where YSL Associates sell drugs and do not permit other gangs to operate.
Exposing all the hubs.
Number 16, defendant has personal knowledge that he and other members or associates of YSL have either participated in or directly committed at least one of the following crimes in order to increase the notoriety and reputation of YSL: murder, armed robbery, aggravated assault, attempted murder, theft, illegal gun possession, and illegal drug possession and sales.
Appreciate you,
Mr.
AM3.
Sledge, have you had an opportunity to go over each one of the defendant's factual acknowledgements and make corrections where necessary?
Yes.
And do you now acknowledge under oath that each of the factual acknowledgments that you have initialed in this section are true and correct and accurate to the best of your ability?
Yes, ma'am.
Part 5 of this plea agreement, Your Honor, states that defendant's sentencing acknowledgments are as follows. Defendant understands fully that if he violates any provision or any special condition of this plea agreement, the district attorney can and will use the contents of this document and agreement during any judicial proceeding. Defendant understands fully that if he violates any provision or any special condition of this plea agreement, his probation for this sentence may be revoked in its entirety, and the district attorney will recommend that defendant serve any remaining portion of this sentence in confinement at the Georgia Department of Corrections or prison.
They on locking
Number
their
3,
ass
defendant
up.
understands fully that any violation of any provision or of any special condition of this plea agreement shall result in defendant being sentenced on count 30 of this indictment, and the district attorney will recommend that the defendant serve the maximum sentence allowed by law. Number 4, defendant understands fully that if prior to the conclusion of the initial trial of this case, defendant fails or refuses to testify to any fact that he acknowledges in this plea agreement, such failure or refusal nullifies any promise made by the district attorney to null pros count 30 of this indictment. Number 5, defendant understands fully that defendant's violation of any provision or of any special condition of this plea agreement prior to the conclusion of the initial trial of this case shall nullify any promise made by the district attorney to null pros count 30 of this indictment and may result in defendant being, and Your Honor, there is a typo that is in this document. It's the word should be being, and it's spelled B-E-G-I-N. I'm going to ask that defendant just strike through and initial that word, B-E-G-I-N to B-E-I-N-G.
There you go. Yeah, and shout out to Tim. He says, and people are calling Woody a rat. Sounds like this guy did more talking to the DA than Woody. Well, I mean, we have hours and hours and hours of interrogation or interview videos of Woody saying lots and lots of names and telling lots and lots of locations. So I don't know, man. I think Woody still takes the prize when it comes to talking to the police, but I'll let you have that one. And it's
Mr.
similar to
Sledge,
what
is that your
Gunner said
initial,
too.
above the strike through of the word began to change it to being?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
He said, "What are you having sleepovers at the station?" Oh man. He had his hands. He had his hands. His chin on his hands like that. His feet back, kicked up, swinging his feet. So you guys want to know about YSL? Oh, can you pass the popcorn? Listen to this. Listen to this.
And may result in defendant being sentenced to serve as much as 35 years of confinement in the Georgia Department of Corrections or prison. Number 6, defendant understands fully that no promises, agreements, or conditions have been made other than those set forth in this document. Mr. Sledge, are these your initials on each section under defendant's sentencing acknowledgements?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sledge, do you agree that the following statement is one that you have read, fully understood, and signed your name acknowledging? I, Antonio Sledge, have read and carefully reviewed this agreement. I have reviewed and corrected where necessary for accuracy each statement contained in defendant's factual acknowledgements, and I acknowledge the truth and accuracy of each and every statement listed therein. I fully understand this agreement, and I've had an opportunity to discuss this agreement and each of its provisions with my attorney, Mr. Derek Wright. No promises other than those contained in this document have been made to me in furtherance of this agreement. I freely, knowingly, and voluntarily enter into this agreement without force, threat, or coercion. Is that the statement that you acknowledged in this agreement?
Yeah, ma'am.
And is that the statement to which you signed your name underneath?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so let's take a break here because I don't know how in the world the court reporter is catching all of this because Miss Love went through them so quickly. So let's take a pause in this. We'll get to the sentencing here in a second and actually review what ADA Love was talking about. So check this out. This is State of Georgia versus Antonio Sledge, aka Monk Tonk. Up in here, current charges. Count 1, conspiracy to violate the Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act, and count 30, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon previously convicted of a felony involving the use or possession of a firearm. So it's these 2 charges, which this one, oh man, it's crazy that it's even in there because they haven't proven that that's the case yet. But anyway, we'll keep it moving. Negotiated sentence. Here we go. Count 1. 15 years to serve on probation. We'll get to that in the video here in a second. And then count 30, sentencing withheld until the completion of the initial trial of this case. So he hasn't even been sentenced for this yet because we're waiting until we see what happens with the YSL trial. After the initial trial of this case, provided defendant has complied, I can read y'all, with the special conditions outlined in sections B, C, D, F, and I of section 3, special conditions of the sentence, the plea agreement, the state agrees the defendant shall be allowed to withdraw his guilty plea on count 30, and the state shall agree to count 30. All right, so we'll go through that here in a second. Special conditions of the sentence, and Miss Love just went through all of this. Defendant shall abide in full by each and all the terms of this negotiated agreement. Defendant's failure to abide by any of the terms of the agreement shall constitute a violation of the agreement. All right, so we know all this. We've been through this before. Just make sure you do what you're going to say. And here's where he initialed everything. All right, these are the factual acknowledgements. These get interesting. In case y'all missed them when she read them, I want to go through them one more time. First off, Young Slime Life, aka YSL, is an organization made up of 3 or more members or associates who share common identifiers that include but are not limited to colors, hand signals, terminology. Sounds kind of like a YouTube channel, except we haven't committed crimes intended to increase the notoriety, street credibility, and reputation of the YouTube channel. All right, yeah, hey, listen, y'all please do not go out there committing crimes and throwing up, oh, I can't be putting C's on the live stream, and throwing up CBs on the live stream. What would it be? We'll do sign later. So we'll do the CBs up in here and say, yeah, ClassE Beats gang. Don't y'all do that. I'm not trying to get hit with a Rico. All right. So Just chill, relax, and let's keep it moving. We'll have a good time here, and then that's it. Number 2, defendants have been a member / and or an associate of YSL since 2012. Okay. While associated with YSL and to support and express loyalty to YSL defendant and co-defendants Demekion Garlington and Quandarius Zachary, that is, excuse me, that is appeared in the video with another person, Antonio Sledge, wherein defendants brandished a weapon used in a drive-by shooting, and wherein on behalf of YSL defendant threatened to harm a person named Kel, a rival gang member who had begun a relationship with defendant's girlfriend. And Kel, we know that was Big Nut's brother who got into it with Lil Woody, right? And then number 4, on or about April 28, 2015, as reflected in the Fulton County indictment right here, defendants and fellow YSL associates Demekion Garlington and Quandarius Zachary committed a drive-by shooting using a firearm defendant wielded in the video referenced in part 3 of this section, targeting family members of a rival gang, which is interesting because Woody's talking about this right now and saying that he was the one who did it. What? It's kind of crazy. Don't know. Y'all stop it, man. Not CB gang. Don't do that. Nope. We are not CB gang. We're not doing that. Y'all don't go out there committing any crimes, throwing up the CBs, okay? I'm gonna say it was Chris Brown. Dang, y'all don't do that to me. Number 5. Defendant and his fellow associates committed the drive-by shooting referenced in sections 3 and 4 on behalf of YSL and to increase the notoriety, reputation, and fear of YSL. Woody's saying he did this now, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Mr. Antonio Sledge as this trial goes along. Defendant admitted to committing and was convicted of aggravated assault and participation in criminal street gang activity, among other charges, for his participation in the drive-by shooting referenced in 3, 4, and 5 above. Defendant was told by another YSL associate that immediately after the murder of Donovan Thomas, YSL associates met at the McDonald's on Cleveland. Oh, how about some hearsay? We love hearsay, don't we? Defendant was told by another YSL associate. Jesus. Oh, man. After the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr., YSL associates met at the McDonald's on the Cleveland Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia to discuss the murder. So yeah, Mr. Antonio Sledge heard from somebody at the barbershop that this is what went down when Donovan Thomas was murdered. Yeah, can you just initial that right there for me? Defendant personally knows that one or more YSL associates committed the murder of Donovan Thomas on behalf of YSL. I'd love to hear how he knows that. Maybe we'll get to that at one point. Number 9, on January 10th, 2015, after the murder of Donovan Thomas, defendant and other YSL associates gathered at the home of Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, who gave defendant and other YSL associates cash money to lay low. Defendant has personal knowledge that on January 10th, 2015, after the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr., YSL associates traveled to Miami, Florida with co-defendant and YSL founder Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug. Defendant did not murder Donovan Thomas and was not a party to the crime. They keep trying to push this on everybody. I mean, we know who the state thinks did it, but there's a lot, especially after we heard that cross-examination from Max last Wednesday, that there's a lot of speculation as to who actually did it and who was involved, because it sounded like Thug didn't have anything to do with this, according to Max, but we'll see as we keep going on. Defendant did not murder Mr. Drinks and was not a party to the crime. Defendant cannot truthfully assert that the persons charged in this indictment with the murder of Donovan Thomas are not guilty of the murder. And defendant will make no attempt at trial, prior to trial, or after the trial to exonerate the persons charged in this indictment with the murder of Donovan Thomas. So he cannot say that one of the defendants did not kill Donovan Thomas. Number 14, the gas station at 151 Cleveland Avenue, Atlanta, Georgia, is one of multiple locations where YSL associates sell drugs and don't allow other gangs to operate. The gas station at 221 Cleveland Avenue, Atlanta, Georgia, is another location where YSL associates sell drugs and did not permit other gangs to operate. Defendant has personal knowledge that he and other members or associates of YSL have either participated in or directly committed at least one of the following crimes in order to increase the notoriety and reputation of YSL: murder, armed robbery, aggravated assault, attempted murder, theft, illegal gun possession, and illegal drug possession and sales. Defendant sentencing acknowledgements. We're going to hold off on this and get back to the video because I want y'all to hear the sentencing from Judge Glanville himself, and I will be reading super chats shortly. Thank y'all for the super chat.
Your Honor, the state tenders as evidence State's Exhibit 1AS.
Any objection? States 1AS is admitted for purposes of plea.
Exactly, Brigetta.
Mr. Sledge,
Y'all
how
stop
do
with the
you
CBG.
plead to count to the charge of conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act as alleged in count 1 of indictment 22 SC 183572?
Guilty.
And how do you plead to count 30 of this indictment?
Guilty.
22 SC 183572, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon previously convicted of a felony involving the use or possession of a firearm.
Guilty.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with the full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yeah, ma'am.
Do you understand that you may have only a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you have only 4 years from today for a felony charge and 12 months from today for a misdemeanor charge to file what is known as a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness of this guilty plea?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I was talking about, organic.
Your Honor, the state will now provide a factual basis for this plea.
All right. Go ahead, ma'am, whenever you're
Your
ready.
Honor, if this case were to go to trial, the state believes that the evidence will prove beyond a reasonable doubt against this defendant that the defendant, together with indicted and unindicted co-conspirators in Fulton County, on or between January the 24th, 2013 and May 8th of 2022 did unlawfully conspire to acquire, maintain directly and indirectly an interest in and control of United States money and other personal property through a pattern of racketeering activity. Furthermore, defendant did unlawfully conspire to conduct and participate in directly and indirectly such enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity. The enterprise, Your Honor, as described in this indictment and as the state expects the evidence will show, is called Young Slime Life, also known as YSL. And during the time listed in the indictment, the defendant, along with others, conspired to associate together and with others for the common purpose of illegally obtaining money and property through a pattern of racketeering activity and conducting and participating in this enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity. The objectives of the conspiracy included, but were not limited to, protecting, preserving, and enhancing the reputation, power, and territory of the enterprise through acts of racketeering activity, including murder, assault, and threats of violence, preserving, protecting, and enhancing the reputation, power, and territory of the enterprise by the posting of messages, images, videos, and songs demonstrating allegiance to the enterprise and a willingness to engage in violence on its behalf, obtaining money, weapons, and other property through acts of racketeering activity, including robbery, theft, and the unlawful sale and distribution of drugs. Your Honor, YSL is an enterprise consisting of a group of individuals
Allegedly.
associated. In fact, it constitutes an ongoing organization whose associates function as a continuing unit for the common purpose of achieving its objectives. YSL is a criminal street gang that started in late 2012 in the Cleveland Avenue of Atlanta, Georgia.
Allegedly.
Their identifiers vary, and they use common identifiers including colors, clothing, tattoos, and hand signs, as well as verbal and written identifiers, Your Honor.
Allegedly.
Your Honor, in furtherance of the conspiracy and to effect its objects and purposes, this defendant committed overt acts which reflect his tacit agreement to participate in the enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity.
Yeah.
Those overt acts include but are not limited to the defendant's possession of cocaine with the intent to distribute as alleged in number Act 8 of Count 1 on November the 29th of 2013.
And again, y'all, I've seen so many of these indictments when it comes to intent to distribute, just from the short time I served on a grand jury, and they're so BS, man. It's so easy. It is so easy to get charged with intent to distribute. So take that for whatever you will. And again, thank y'all for the super chats. I'll be reading those shortly. It's a lot of BS. It's packaged a certain way. You have a certain amount, intent to distribute.
The defendant's commission of the aggravated assault as listed in defendant's factual acknowledgement on April the 28th of 2015. The defendant's commission of Act 45 in Count 1 on April the 28th of 2015, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The defendant's commission of Act 46 as alleged in Count 1 of the indictment on April the 28th of 2015 of participation in criminal street gang activity. The defendant's posing while an associate of YSL for a photo released on social media wearing pants with the letters OTS, standing for Only the Slime, with the caption of OGs with the green snake emoji and green heart emoji on April the 8th of 2021 as alleged in Act 128 of Count 1 of this indictment. And
Birdman's
Act
not going to testify.
151 of Count 1 on December 5th, 2021 as alleged in Count 1 of this indictment, wherein defendant possessed a firearm while previously convicted of a felony involving the use or the possession of a firearm. Your Honor, as the defendant acknowledged in State's Exhibit 1AS, defendant has been associated with YSL since 2012 and has committed the acts that are contained in this plea agreement as well, which also reflect defendant's tacit agreement to participate in this enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity. Your Honor, the defendant, as I stated earlier, has pled guilty to the commission of acts along with other YSL associates in furtherance of the gang YSL.
Allegedly.
Specifically, Your Honor, beginning back in January of 2015, after the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr. in Fulton County, a series of retaliatory shootings between YSL and the organization of which Mr. Thomas was a member began to occur. One of the retaliatory shootings is the one that is listed in defendant's factual acknowledgements in State's Exhibit 1AS. Your Honor, as recently as earlier this year, the murder of yet another person whom the organization considered a rival, Mr. Shamel Drinks, took place.
Allegedly.
Turning 2022 into sort of a repeat of 2015. Your Honor, the defendant has knowingly, voluntarily, and willingly signed this plea agreement, and as a result of the defendant's willingness to be forthcoming and to be truthful and to own responsibility for his actions, the state is willing to make the recommendation that I've relayed to the court, and we ask that the court accept this negotiated plea agreement. Your Honor, that is all that the state has. If the court will permit me 1 moment, please.
Okay.
Nah, we ain't getting one more moment. I can't stand that lady. So now let's go ahead and get into the sentencing here.
Thank you, Judge.
And it's going to be in one ear for a second, so y'all just bear with the video.
Yes, Your Honor, there was one correction I wanted to make. I believe that the plea agreement, that is State's Exhibit 1AS, said that if the defendant violates any term of...
Have you ever had a dream that you could
Okay.
Your Honor, what the state recommends is that at this time the defendant be sentenced to 15 years of probation on count 30 to run consecutively with count 1, and provided the defendant complies with the plea agreement as contained in the negotiated portion of the sentence section 2B.
This is why dudes stay in the house. 15 years probation. Jesus, man. Again, you get pulled over one time or they stop you and they think you got a weapon, you're done. You're done. You better not have somebody make a phone call. They saw you getting in a fight. They think you had a gun. Jeez.
Upon the initial,
not to mention drugs. Drugs are even easier. You better stay out. Better get off the drugs.
Shall pose no objection to the defendant, to any motion on behalf of the defendant to withdraw that guilty plea, and the state agrees to no pros count 30.
All right. Okay. Mr. Wright?
Your Honor, briefly.
Anything on behalf of Mr. Sledge?
Your Honor, my client is 41 years of age. He has 8 children. 3 are grown. So that would leave 5 minor children. He actually has 3 brothers that are alive, 1 deceased. His father is deceased, but his mom is still with us. He is very anxious to be able to get back to his family. His outlook on this is silly, childish things done in the past as a younger man have sort of come to bite him, and he has grown, I think, grown out of some of those, as we say, childish things. So he is asking this court respectfully to agree and accept this, the terms of this agreement, and sentence him according to the terms of this agreement. He will abide to each and every provision that this agreement provides, whether it's through testimony or otherwise. And again, he is thankful to have this opportunity to get back to his family, to his children, and to the remainder of his life. You will not see him after this trial and all this is over. You will not see him again. Thank you very much, Judge.
Okay.
He said you will not see him again. Y'all believe that? Y'all believe that?
Has one other addition. With respect to count 30, the state has no objection to this court suspending that 15 years with the same provisions that we've listed for the court previously. And additionally, the state, in accordance with the state's representation to Mr. Wright prior to this moment, the state would have no objection to, after the defendant's successful completion of the first 10 years of this probation, of it being terminated.
Okay. All right. Mr. Wright, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Sledge, again, good afternoon, sir.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm fine. Sir, did you have the opportunity to fully discuss the facts and circumstances of this case with your attorney, Mr. Wright, to your satisfaction?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did he explain to you the various constitutional rights you give up by pleading guilty to your satisfaction? Those are the same rights that my prosecutor, Ms. Love, just set forth on the record a few minutes ago. Do you have any questions about those rights you wish to ask me?
No, Your Honor.
All right. I'm holding the indictment in this case, and on page 6, above the word defendant, is this your name, or is this your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
On the face of this indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Before you sign this indictment, did you have an opportunity to fully discuss the facts and circumstances of this case with your attorney, Mr. Wright, to your satisfaction?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Is there anything else in this indictment that you wish to ask me?
No, Your Honor.
All right. I'll note the indictment's been signed and the plea has been entered. Mr. Sledge, based upon the responses that you've given during the court's inquiry, I find that your guilty plea is freely and voluntarily entered. I find a factual basis for your plea. I'm going to accept your plea as tendered and as negotiated. To count 1, conspiracy to violate the Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, this court will sentence you to 15 years to serve on probation. As it pertains to you in count 30, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, previously convicted of a felony involving the use or possession of a firearm, OCGA 16-11-133, this court will sentence you to 15 years probation consecutive to count 1.
Y'all hear that?
Now, the state is also indicating, your attorney has also indicated that upon the initial trial of the case,
said 15 years consecutive to count 1.
Case, provided you comply with the special conditions as outlined in sections B, C, D, F, and I of section 3, that you should be able to withdraw your guilty plea in terms of that count, and the state will null pros that count. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You also agree that you'll abide by each and all the terms of the negotiated agreement, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you fail to abide by any term of this agreement, it could constitute a violation of this agreement.
Yes, Your Honor.
You shall testify truthfully about all matters related to this case, upon which you're questioned in any trial or judicial proceeding stemming from the facts in this indictment. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
In accordance with testifying truthfully, you acknowledge each and all of the statements contained in the defendant's factual acknowledgement section of this agreement are true. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you agree that you'll testify truthfully about each statement contained within the defendant's factual acknowledgments, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You shall possess no guns unless your right to do so is restored.
Yes, Your Honor.
You shall commit no criminal acts, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you shall submit to random drug screens as designated by the Department of Community Supervision or any agency designated by the court in this case. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you test positive for any Schedule 1, 2, or 3 drug, within 30 days of that positive test, you'll undergo drug rehabilitation as designated by the court or the Department of Community Supervision. And you have to successfully complete that, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you relinquish any Fifth Amendment right relating to any statement contained within the defendant's factual acknowledgments of this plea agreement.
Yes, Your Honor.
You also agree to abide by a curfew from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. unless you're otherwise working, in school, or an emergency arises.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that means if you work the second shift or the third shift, as long as you let probation know, it wouldn't be a violation of your probation. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You also understand, I understand you have minors, so you got to take your kid to a doc in a box, or you have something to check on your mother or whatever else, that won't violate your probation. But if they catch you someplace you're not supposed to be, you'll be back having a very uncomfortable conversation with me.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And then you can't have any contact with any co-defendants on this indictment except through attorneys, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about your sentence, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Take care, Patty.
Mr. Wright or Miss Love, any clarifications on the court entry of sentence
Shout
or
out to
defense
for
entry of
fuck's
plea?
sake. We're still looking for them. I know where they're at, but I'm not telling you.
On behalf of the state.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Then that will be the sentence of the court. Mr. Chamberlain, anything? Okay. All right. Good luck to you, sir, okay?
All right.
He said good luck to you. Judge Glanville said good luck to you, sir. How nice. So let's go back. Oh man, let's go back to this and see what Judge Glanville said. I mean, it's signed here by Mr. Sledge, but that is crazy. That is crazy. All he was charged for, and I won't say all. What was he charged for? Conspiracy to violate the RICO Act. And then possession of a firearm. Crazy. All right. And then we have 15 years here, probation. And then Judge Glanville said it was going to be another 15 years on top of that. But could that possibly change by the end of the trial? I guess we'll never know. I would love to hear what y'all think about this. For those of you that were saying, and I was saying this too, I know the state is coming up with some plea deals over this past weekend to present to the defense. If this is what a plea deal looks like, I don't know how many plea deals that we're going to have signed over the weekend. So y'all let me know what you think. Was this a good deal? Was this a bad deal? Man, I had to read some of these super chats too. Shout out to y'all. Everyone who liked the video. Everyone who sent in super chat. I was still shook about this when I first heard everything. I didn't go through the full videos, but Judge Glanville said, good luck. This man's going to be in his 70s. Oh my gosh. Super chats, and then I'll read some more of y'all's comments. And also, if y'all want to call in, the link to call in is in the description and also in the pinned comment in the chat. Y'all can call in at any point during the show. I usually take calls once we get at a break in between each topic. We've got a couple more topics I want to get to today, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here, but I had to get to this one. Shout out to the amazing Cat Not Williams, gifting 5 memberships over here. Y'all, again, go make sure you check her out. If one of the mods, most likely will be Amy, could drop the link to her channel in the chat. Again, I would appreciate it. She does some great coverage of the trial. I know she'll be live covering this tomorrow morning along with the rest of us. There is plenty of eyes on this trial to go around. So y'all make sure you go support her, go subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and go like all of her videos too. All right, shout out to Cat Not Williams. We got Michelle Corley up in here, dropped the 5 bomb. She says, hello, love your shows. Thank you, Michelle. And comments breaking all the news down. Yeah, we're learning here. I do not know everything. I am not an attorney, but I am someone who loves learning about the law and understanding everything that's going on and the possible situations that could take place, all the different words and jargon that's used within the courtroom. I like seeing things play out. So we're all going to learn here together. And I appreciate everybody who has experience and more experience than me in the courtroom, not only stopping by the show, but engaging in the chat and educating us as well. So shout out to Michelle. Appreciate you. We've got Chadak. Oh man, we got Cha up in here because I'm going to mess up your name and I got to put some respect on your name. Drop the 2 bomb, says wait for it. We got Amy in here with the microphone and the cake and super stickers. I see you over there, Amy. We've also got Bridgetta in here, says the streets gave the gun to the streets. I don't know what's up with that. even the way these factual acknowledgements were written is just insane. While associated with YSL and to support and express the loyalty to YSL, the defendant and co-defendant Demikion Garlington and Quandarius Zachary appeared in the video with other persons wherein the defendant brandished a weapon and wherein on behalf blah 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 blah. And all of this is true, right? Defendant and fellow YSL associates committed the drive-by shooting referenced in sections 3 and 4 above. What? It's a mess. Factual acknowledgement did the RICO. It would seem so. And the burden of proof is zero, which is crazy. So if you're in the indictment and the indictment goes before a grand jury and they say, okay, grand jury, did this most likely happen or did this most likely not happen? The grand jury says this most likely happened. Now we can just throw in all of these factual acknowledgements and make you take a plea deal. Nasty work. Keep your circle small. Keep your nose clean. It's got to be that simple, because anything else, you're setting yourself up to be taken advantage of by the system. Amy says, with the 5-bomb, I'm willing to bet Brian Steele's closing arguments will go down in history if we ever get there. Oh, man. I mean, we have to get there at this point. Like I said, Miss Hilton could jump across that table, choke Woody out, slap him across the face, say, I'm gonna kill you if you don't tell the truth. And there still would be no mistrial. We already know Judge Whitaker is going to see this thing through. Hilton would just get kicked out of there, held in contempt, whatever you want to say. And we're going to keep it moving. Judge Whitaker is not shutting this thing down unless there are extenuating circumstances. So I don't know what that's going to take, but these plea deals, it's not going to be a plea deal because, man, if this is the plea deal that they're giving to one of the lower level members of YSL for a gun charge and just for being a part of this RICO indictment, then what do you think Thug is going to get? 60 years of probation? Time served +5? I mean, what are we doing here? For fuck's sake says, any luck on finding info on Lil Mike and Quez? As I said, for fuck's sake, I know where they are, but I'm not telling you. All right, we're going to leave them out of this. They're cooling. Let's just let them be. He also says, good luck after he just gave it to him with no Vaseline. Yeah, like, what is going on with that? Good luck, sir. Good luck keeping your nose clean for the next 30 years. Sheesh. Mr. Brown is in here. He dropped the 1 bomb as well. Thank you again to everybody who sends in super chats. I'll be reading more super chats throughout the show. I appreciate y'all continuing to support and show love, because you don't have to. But thank you for keeping the lights on here at the Music Morning Show. What does Amy say? Do y'all actually believe they will hold this guy to stipulations in this plea? No. It's all for show. I 1000% agree. What else are y'all saying in here? Yo Daddy Sports says, these crazy sentences keep the feds dollars coming in for the district attorney's office. Funding lawyers, probation officers, prison guards, etc. It's all the business. And family court is even worse. Y'all think this is bad? Shh. You should see family court. It gets crazier. Where's Brooklyn at? Brooklyn asked something, and then Kat said she's going to be here. She says, but we will skip the lunch break. It's amazing that we can catch up before the end of court, even when starting at 12. Yeah. Oh, okay. Did Kat say when she's going live tomorrow? Here we go. Kat's starting late, so y'all can go check her out too. She says she's starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, and we'll be lurking in the chats. Okay, so we'll see Kat in the chat, and then y'all can go check her out as well. We're probably going to start late too. I think they're supposed to start at 8:45. Y'all know I do not trust this court to start on time, so we'll start 9:15, 9:30, something around there. Jennifer Divine dropped a 20 bomb. Appreciate you, Jennifer. Thank you. Showing love. And she just sends a super sticker. No comment or anything. Thank you. Thank you. And then we've also got, I almost missed this one. We got For Fug's Sake is up in here, says, if this ends in mistrial and the state files to try the case all over, I love y'all, but I'm gonna cancel and delete YouTube app off my phone. Listen, as a content creator for Fug's Sake, I'm not gonna lie, I would absolutely love that because it's gonna make my job easy. I'm gonna be over here, laid back like this. I'm gonna click that go live button and say, hey y'all, YSL time.
Stop the cap.
But as a person who understands what's going on and how corrupt this system is, I don't want to see that happen. And honestly, if we get to the point of mistrial, I think it'll be somewhat similar to what Judge Krause said if she decides when she made that ruling about Judge Glanville, where she said, it looks bad. Judge Glanville really didn't do anything wrong. He followed the rules. And I think if we had kept going, things would have been fine. But we're going to go ahead and kick him off the case because of the public eye. Now, if it comes down to that with Judge Whitaker, I think it'll be the same thing. She'll say, man, we tried to follow this the right way. We got Judge Glanville out of here. But, Judge Hilton, she stepped across the line. She went up there. She choked out Woody. She told all the other witnesses after that they could go to hell. And there's just been, certain instances of this that I think it would just look bad to the public. So for that reason, it's a mistrial and we got to move forward. That's what I would think. But hey, we've seen crazier things. I am not sure what would happen. And thank you again, Jennifer Divine and FFS in here. Amy says the saddest part of this whole thing is Nuts family and the closure they will never get. They have no idea what's going on. And after everything that happened on Wednesday with Max Sharp, I mean, they're probably looking at Woody like, come here, Woody. We want to talk to you real quick. Yeah, we heard what that guy's lawyer said. What is it? Shannon Stillwell? What's up, Woody? It seemed like you were in a lot of the wrong places at the right time, my guy. Had issues with Kel. You saying you shot up the barbershop? And will they know because this is the dude that has immunity and is being protected by the state? A lot of these guys are. I have no idea. Let's get a couple more comments and let me see if y'all want to call in too. I know we had a couple of people call in. Oh, we got somebody calling right now. Hold on a second.
Call from
Sarah.
All right, here we go. We got Sarah in the building. Sarah, good morning. Oh, good afternoon now. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So while we were talking about another trial and wasting money, I just wanted to bring it. I didn't know if you guys got to see it or not, but bring it to everyone's attention that there was a company that had workers inside the jail, the Fulton County Jail, and the state of Georgia owes that company $1 million. They have not been paid in 3 months.
Yep.
So they had all their employees pull out on Friday, and then also the reason that juror got pulled the one day that the judge told the cameras to be turned off was because she has not been paid in 2 months either.
What?
Yes. So we talk about a lot of money being spent. Georgia's on its last wits end. They are literally running out. They have ran out of money. It's and you should go watch the video about the person who is over. He said that he hired some of those employees in at a higher pay, and the reporters were asking, well, what about the $1 million that you owe? Like, what? Are you serious?
Yeah,
so I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, we talked about it on Friday, and I actually dropped a video about that this morning.
Okay, I didn't get it. So yeah, definitely.
It's funny to hear how they responded to those questions too, basically trying to play the victim and saying, oh, well, we're just underfunded and we've just had a hard time. And then they go and turn around and say that they're going to hire the employees that are out of work. Like, how does that work?
Absolutely. It's a clown circus. I mean, that whole state of Georgia should be embarrassed. I mean, they have really just set the tone for Georgia, and I feel bad for you guys to live down there.
Oh, well, don't worry about it. We're going to make a change. October is coming around, October 15th. If you're here in Fulton County, make sure you go out and vote.
Definitely.
And make a change.
Out and vote. Get her out of there. Get Fannie Willis out of there. That's our new campaign. Get her out.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. But yeah, thank you for calling in, Sarah, and I appreciate the support. You can call in anytime.
No problem. Thank you, guys. Have a good day. Have a good day, Amy. Thank you, guys.
All right. Happy Labor Day. Appreciate you.
Happy Labor Day.
All right. So we had one more person calling in, but I missed the call. Who is that? Let me call him back. Who just tried to call in? We had, let me see. I don't know why it doesn't show as a missed call. Dang, I missed them. All right, if you just tried to call in, can you call back in so I can get you up here? They might be leaving me a voicemail. But yeah, Sarah's 1000% right. If y'all didn't see that video, go check it out on the ClassE Beach YouTube channel. I dropped it early this morning talking about what's going on in Fulton County. Lil Woody mentioned some of the things that were happening over in the Wright Street jail, and it's just bad. Some of the living conditions. We had Sky Mosaic in the chat was talking about how the inmates, they have to get their water out of the shower. It's nasty. Nasty. All right, we got 802 up in here. Shout out to 802.
Ivan.
Mr. Ivan is in the building on the Music Morning Show. Appreciate you calling in, Ivan. How are you doing this morning?
How are you? I'm not sure if I come in clear enough. I just wanted to touch on the RICO activist. John Gotti had to go through hell. They had videotape. They had all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
This RICO situation is just insane. It's just a free-for-all.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
No standard.
And the way they're able to just put this together, and as we've seen with Lil Woody's testimony, not have a legitimate amount of facts behind the RICO.
Nothing solid. Nothing credible. No videotape. No thugger, King Slime touching somebody's hand, shaking, exchanging a bag of money. Nothing.
Yeah. And where's the paper trail? That's another point too. Where's the paper trail from all these drug exchanges they're talking about?
Exactly. John Gotti went through hell. He went through. I was a kid. I remember being a kid watching all. They had stuff that, made me believe from my kitchen table that he was guilty as hell.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, that's all I want to say. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Ivan, man. Thank you for calling in. You can call in anytime, brother. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you, though.
All right. Have a great day. Peace. Okay. Let me get 772 back in here because I definitely missed you, 772. And again, if y'all want to call in, the link to call in is in the description and also in the pinned comment in the chat.
Hey, you, Mr. Beats. Alice from Florida.
Hey, there it is. Alice is in the building. Happy Labor Day, Alice. Good to hear from you again. And good morning.
To you as well, sir.
All right. What's on your mind?
Good morning. You know what? I wouldn't do it. We talked about it last week. There's no way I'd touch a plea. There is no way. Would you take a plea given all of this?
No.
No, exactly.
We already know what it's going to look. We know what it's going to look like. It's going to be time served plus 20 or some BS like that for Young Thug. Young Thug's not going anywhere. I don't even think Young Thug gets I don't think he gets offered a plea deal at this point.
No, I'm with you on that one. If anybody would take a plea, whoever took the plea, they're in trouble. But those guys that didn't take the plea, they go home sooner.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see all these pleas that came out already. I know it's been said amongst especially the law tube and the lawyer community that if you have a felony already, what's one more felony. But what I'm looking at is that 15, potentially 30 years probation.
Did you see that?
Man.
Who can do that? 15 years, can't even get a driving ticket and pulled over?
I mean, you can, but your life
You
could be over if you do.
It's gone. If I, in my process, when I'm pulling people over or whatever, and they convict a felon, they're probation, they beg not to go, please, because I'm going back to prison,
Yeah.
It's a hard deal to pull. It's a hard one.
Yeah, and imagine you already do 20 and then something goes down. Or you maybe
exactly
you have 1.1 ounces of weed on you, then that could be it.
Exactly. I mean, it's just a bad situation all the way. Like I told you last week, man, the state needs to throw in the towel. Enough money has been, given everything that's going on down there in you guys' background. Enough is enough. They need to just sell it, and there's no way I'd take a plea deal. There's no way, knowing what I know.
Well, if the trial ended tomorrow, or let's say it ended today, because tomorrow I'm sure we're going to get a lot more information. If it ended today and you're on the jury, what are you saying? Guilty or not guilty?
Definitely not guilty.
Okay.
Without a reasonable doubt, nothing, not guilty. They don't have enough. We've been seeing this. You cannot put hardly in none of this. But to help people, those guys, what he say, he didn't even know half of those guys over there. How could you put an innocent person, even if they did do something, it's not enough to spend that much time in prison behind in your window,
Yeah. And I'm with, the only reason I'm with you, and I was leaning guilty before, but the only reason I'm with you is because of the reasonable doubt. After the excellent job that Max Sharp did on Wednesday, there's so much doubt about what actually went down and how much involvement Thug had, if any, in all of this. So
exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you. If it ended today, I'd have to say.
Take it home? Matt took it home. Yeah. Matt took it home. Boy, it was like he painted the whole entire picture.
He did.
We know the story. You follow what I'm saying? We know the story.
Yeah.
Give or take a little things here and there, but Matt brought it home.
Yep,
Still did it, but Matt was waiting for the other judge to get off the stand because he was terrified of that judge. He really wouldn't do too much talking, Yeah, he was terrified of Judge Glenville. You see, when he stand up there, he'll just rock side to side, hoping that Judge Glenville don't do anything to him or say anything out the way. But as soon as Judge Glenville got off that stand and Matt saw that he can really show his true purpose, Matt went home with it.
Yeah.
Sharp did it. He did it.
I agree with you 1,000%. Well, I appreciate you calling in again. It's good to hear from you.
You always.
Yeah,
you have a good holiday. What is it, Labor Day, Memorial Day, but a good day still.
Absolutely. You do as well, and you can call in anytime. I appreciate you.
All right, my love. Be safe.
Right.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Yeah, man. It's crazy to see. Crazy to see all that's going down. All that the defense is having to deal with. A plea deal is just, I don't know which is worse. Try and take it all the way or look at a plea deal because it's not looking great. Let's get 443 in here. Let's see who this is.
Black Butterfly.
Oh.
To accept, press 1.
We got Black Butterfly in the building. First time on the show. Thank you for calling in, Black Butterfly. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, ClassE Beats? How are you?
I'm doing very well.
I'm
Thank
glad
you.
That's good. I'm glad I caught you live because most of the time I catch your replays, and I finally caught you live.
Oh, thanks for watching the replay. I appreciate it.
I do. I can't. It's like so many of you guys that are so great, and you're definitely on the top. And I just can't catch everybody at the same time. I'm like, wow, I caught them great.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say, I wanted to reiterate what you were speaking of. Okay, well, obviously there's crimes that are happening in that area. I think that they just don't have enough to really nail down who did any of it. And they got these false allegations to try to drive them to where exactly it's happening and who did it. And it's all being exposed. And I think this is so sad.
Yeah.
I think it's so sad. If it was like your
your friend, your family member, your child. You imagine how so many people are looking at this like this could be any one of us any day. I do think that my thing is that I do think that they need to solve crimes. I think they need to, but I just think that they need to get the right individual, and that's one of the most saddest parts in this whole situation. That they just want a conviction versus getting the right person.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see, going back to what Amy said about Donovan Thomas's family. If they were to sever a lot of what they're trying to prove, I think they could have a better case proving some of these crimes individually than they could tying this all in a RICO. Because then, I mean, say we have a mistrial, or we get a not guilty verdict at the end. Is it all going to go away? I mean, what's going to happen? And then we're just stuck.
Right.
We're just stuck, and nothing was solved. Nothing. And just all because Fannie Willis in the DA's office wants to put this on Young Thug. Oh, it's crazy.
And that's what I was getting ready to say. And you're leading me to my final point, is that she's saying that her theory in love is that Thug wanted these things, or Thug or the YSL, enterprise, so they say, they wanted it for the notoriety. But who really wants the notoriety? Is it them or you?
Talk about it.
Right. And truly, like, my friends, like, I have a few friends that we follow this together, and we're like, what's the real Rico? Is it them or you, Fanny? Like, you may be the real Rico person. That they, all these different things that are happening. And then, like, even with the jail system. Okay, so, like, all right, so 80 of them walk off, but you said you can employ 40. They already said that they're understaffed, and so you're going to take 40 out of the 80. So then how do you, you can't even manage that place because of all these false imprisonments, So I just think that, and then it's like, okay, so from what my understanding when I watched it, they said that how they could do it is they don't have any more funding for the contracted people, but they have a budget for employers. I mean, for people who are employed, and we can take it out of that budget. So we're going to take 40 out of 80. So now you minus 40. Well, really more than 40, at least 44, because you see the other 4, it was 4 of the girls that got arrested. So It's like, how can you can't even manage this whole big mess that you have created.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate part is, I don't know much about the Kramer lady, and I'm not even in that town, but I feel sorry for, like, you and others that are in that city, because, like, it's like, what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, right now, at this point,
you gotta vote for somebody.
Yeah, at this point, you gotta, and that's what I'm trying to continue to push, not only just here in Fulton County, but throughout Georgia and the rest of the United States, for people to just understand that these laws do affect you and the people that you're close to and people that you know. Even if you keep your nose as clean as possible, there's a lot of things that are still in place that you would be surprised about. I mean, even when it comes to shoplifting, as I mentioned earlier, if you push your cart past the point of sale, right, and say you do it accidentally, if someone says, hey, this person, they're trying to steal stuff, and you say, no, I'm not, and you push that cart past the point of sale, I mean, you could get convicted of something, whether your intention was that way or not. So I think we have to, not to use a scare tactic to get people to go out there and vote and be aware, but if you just understand some of these laws that are in place and the people who are putting them in place and why, then it's just going to not only make your life better, but help you to educate other people. So I'm going to do my part here, and hopefully we can continue to have people like yourself continue to be a part of the conversation.
Thank you. And I pray for you guys, because I know this is going to be a tough decision for everyone there.
Yeah.
And I pray for you guys. And thank you for letting me speak.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for calling in. You can call in anytime. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, let's get a couple more of y'all up in here. I had one more topic I was going to cover, but man, these phone calls is my favorite part of the show. I love talking with y'all, hearing your thoughts, interacting. I know we had a couple of you that didn't get on here, so let me call back 314 and see if they're available. And I'll make sure I get the rest of these super chats too.
Hello?
Hey, 314. This is the Music Morning Show. ClassE Beats. How are you?
What's up, ClassE, my man?
Hey, who am I speaking with?
Hey, this is Sean Hunt.
Oh, okay, Sean. I see you, man. Hey, can you do me a favor and move a little bit closer to the phone? It sounds like you're a little far away.
All right, bet.
All right, go ahead, Sean. What's on your mind, man? Let me know.
All right, so it's just, to me, it looks like the scales of justice is just a little off kilter. And I'm going to say that because I don't know if anybody else caught it. It was a couple of us that did. So, and I'm glad you went back into these Glanville days, right? Because we get to see this stuff.
Yeah.
So he kept saying, my DA, you know, when he was explaining, did he understand what the DA was explaining to him? He kept saying, my DA, right? And it shows. It shows. So it's a reason why, you know, the statue with the Lady of Justice with the scale is blindfolded. Well, I think the blindfolded have been tilted a little bit. And that's just my comment right there.
Yeah, Judge Glanville is definitely peeking through the blindfold, whether it's two ex partes where they're talking to a sworn in witness, or they're talking trash about the defense, or he's working with them and saying, we're going to do this or we're going to do that. It's hard to watch, man. I'm with you.
Right. Well, that's all I have, my man. Thanks.
All right, Sean. Thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All right, take care. All right, let me call back 704 because they tried calling in twice. I got to put some respect on 704. We got North Carolina in the building. And then 201, I will get you on here in just a second. I'm going to call you back.
Hello?
201. Hey, 704, how are you? Welcome to the Music Morning Show. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, Paradox.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Paradox. Thank you for calling in. What is on your mind?
I am thankful for whoever has gifted me. I've had a membership for 2 months now, and I'm thankful because once that's over, I'm going to buy one myself.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you supporting Paradox. Thank you.
I do enjoy your commentary.
Thank you.
But my thing is, after Glanville was gone, this new judge, it's like, okay, at first she was laughing about everything. But my thing is, now it's like, oh, I'm going to help the prosecution. So do you mean, what was it she said to them that helped? Do you mean, it was something that she said, but if you not realize, she helped both sides before.
Yes. Yeah, Judge Whitaker,
yeah. So
she definitely has.
I do not understand why she continues to help anybody. And she needs to let this trial just rest because it's stupid.
I think
it's stupid. I'm in North Carolina, so our laws are very similar to y'all.
Indeed, yeah.
So it's like, why are you even doing this?
Yeah, I think what I'm personally seeing from Judge Whitaker, and I think she was clear about this from the beginning, is that she's a straight shooter and she's going to follow the legal process by the letter. Now, what's happening is the prosecution is just so unprepared. They're so overwhelmed and just not ready to do their job properly that Judge Whitaker basically has to try and get them to give her the information she needs to do her job. So it's not even her so much coaching them. It's like, hey, you know, what is the objection here? Like, she's asking them what the objection is. Like, this is where we're at this point. So I kind of feel bad for her because it is going to put her in a light that maybe makes it look like she's favoring the prosecution, but I don't see it. I don't see it being the case. They're just really unprepared
when she said, right, you all don't have your case together yet.
Yeah,
When
exactly.
she said that, I was like, oh my goodness. So she just told y'all a bit about your own case, and you still are going at it like that to where I'm sorry, I just don't why continue to make it. So does the DA never go home and watch any of our things that we watch? They have to.
I think Fannie Willis is probably watching us and she's hearing what we're saying, but I don't know if Love and Hilton are, honestly, because I haven't seen
Love definitely is too, because she seems very unprepared, and Love seems, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of times Love seems like she doesn't even know what she's talking about, and she makes Hilton look like she don't know what she's talking about, especially with the objections lately with the crop.
Yep.
But with Love, it's like she's stumbled. Like a lot of people say she's glitching or she's yeah, and it's like, yeah, she really is glitching to where it's like almost like robotic. And you're glitching and you're fumbling very badly to where me and my non-legal anything could come up with a better way than you're acting at this point.
Yeah, and I think they're scrambling too because their key witness, the main witness, and specifically this part of the indictment is just absolutely falling apart.
Hey, Woody is doing his thing, but let me ask you.
Yeah.
Like, Thug's dad did an interview the other day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he was talking about how sad he was about Woody and this and that. I really didn't like the interview, but he was speaking his own truth. I can't say anything about it, but my thing is, I'm sorry to say, Woody's charismatic, he's cool, but if you got my son in that type of trouble, I would never be capable for you.
I'm with you on that 1,000%.
I would never be capable for you. Not saying I feel sorry for you. Yeah, I might feel sorry for you in my heart, but I would never say it out loud.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you want.
So I don't understand.
Yeah, and you want him to pay. You want him to pay for what he's doing, and I think Woody is, in a sense, because some of the stuff he's having to go through is tough. I mean, he's got to get.
I think Woody is. I think he is actually being sincere about how he feels, but it still does not negate the fact that you got these dudes in prison, in jail for all these years. It does not negate that. So, because of the things that you've said, these dudes done been in jail, not prison. Jail. Jail is worse than prison.
Yeah.
So they've been in jail all these years just because of what you said.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens from here for sure. And we're going to have a good time tomorrow once we get back in trial. Now, I appreciate you calling in. I don't care what nobody
say. They coming home. Thank you. Thank you for letting me call in. But they coming home.
I appreciate it, Parallel. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Call from.
Oh, they hung up. Dang, I almost had him. We have 440 was up here trying to call in. Let me go ahead and get a couple more calls, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here. And thank you again to Sean in the chat, too. I appreciate all of y'all staying active. Let me go back down. We just got North Carolina. Let me see if I can get 440 back in here. Oh, hold on a second. We got 708 in the building.
Sharon.
There we go. Miss Sharon is here. Good morning, Miss Sharon. Good afternoon. How are you? Can you hear me? Miss Sharon, hello.
Hello.
How are you doing? Good morning.
I'm okay. Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you. What's on your mind?
Hey, I was good afternoon. How are you, sweetie? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we've got a little bit of a delay, Sharon. So if you could close the YouTube live stream and call back, I'll try and get you in here. Shout out to Miss Sharon, though.
From Mr. Brown. To accept, press 1.
All right, we got the birthday boy in the building. Mr. Brown's up in here. Happy early birthday, Mr. Brown.
Hey, thank you, man.
How are you doing?
I got a question for you.
All right,
I
go
got
ahead.
a big question for you.
Yes, sir.
How come nobody talks about YSL Mondo?
What specifically?
Okay, because I seen the thing. I seen the interview last night where the guy was getting on him, right? And he was saying that Fannie Willis was his lawyer first before all this happened.
Really?
And then after she got him off, she became head DA and turned Rico on thugs. That was before Woody said anything. So I'm just trying to figure out why he gets a pass and Woody doesn't. You understand what I'm saying? Because all the weight goes on Woody. Woody said this. Woody said that. What about YSL Mondo?
Yeah, I haven't even looked into YSL Mondo, to be honest, but I'm gonna have to do that. I mean, my only guess is because Woody was the only one who was willing to talk. I mean, he did a lot of talking, and they had a lot of background from him with his interrogation/interviews, and they needed to find a way to play that in court. And he's still alive, so they need to get him on the stand, bring him up there, and say, "Hey, did you say this? Did you do this? Was this true? Is this?" And they forced the immunity, got him on the stand. So that's the only reason I could think of, just looking at it without knowing any more information. But I'll have to look more into that though with YSL Mondo.
That's why I called him. That's why when I texted this morning, I said I had something to tell you, because I saw the interview last night. I don't know what I was watching, but the guy wrote him. I mean, he really asked some questions.
Yeah.
And he was talking about Fannie Willis like that was his girl, like she was cool.
I mean, yeah, we wouldn't be surprised.
Right after his case, she became head DA.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at it like, what did you say or allegedly say? What did Fannie Willis see that made her go after Thug?
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
it had to have been something.
Well, what do you think? What do you think it was from what you've seen?
A lot of times we take our lawyers and make them our best friends while we under a case, and we just don't know what the lawyer's next move is until afterwards we find out something. And we talk to him like, "Oh man, you my man. I like you. And then you never know if he's going to go to the right or to the left.
So you think Fannie is protecting YSL Mondo?
Yep.
Dang.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look at him and see what I can find. But I appreciate you bringing that up, Mr. Brown. That is, yeah, I'm gonna do some research and I'm gonna.
All right, you go back
talk
to your
about
phone
it this
call.
week.
Don't let you go. Thanks for the birthday wish, man.
Yeah, happy birthday, man. I pray that God blesses you with many, many more. Thank you for the support you give to the community, for always being here to show love too.
All right, bro. Happy
All right.
birthday.
Peace, Mr. Brown. Let's go ahead and get 708 up in here.
Sharon.
All right, we got Miss Sharon up in here. Miss Sharon, can you hear me? Are we good? Oh, dang. She might still be on a delay. Miss Sharon, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Okay, I think we're good now. Thank you for calling in.
Baby.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
What's
for
on your
taking
mind?
My call.
Of course.
I was watching the trial, and when they was when the last attorney was up there questioning Woody.
Yeah, Max Sharp.
I guess it's okay. Yeah. I need you to go back and watch that, because the judge was throwing signals to Mrs. Hilton, telling her to eject, and then she would put her hand up to her mouth like, "Don't eject right now. I'm gonna, let him finish."
Yeah.
Just watch it. The judge is throwing signals.
She's throwing gang signs in the court.
Yeah, she's throwing them to Mrs. Hilton, telling her to eject.
Yeah.
And then she even got like her pen in her hand, like, and she sat up and looked at her like, "Why you not ejecting?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there is something there, and I'm not going to say there isn't anything there, but it's kind of like in sports. at the beginning of the game or throughout the game, one of the team or another team will go to the referee and say, hey, ref, I've seen number 5 over there. He's elbowing me a little bit too much. Watch that during the game, because I don't want him over here elbowing me in the ribs. And then the other team will say, oh, well, our referee, I've seen this person doing this. So if that starts to go down throughout the game, they can keep an eye on it. I think that's something similar to what's going on with the prosecution and Judge Whitaker. I don't think it's anything unusual that they could be like, hey, I think the defense is going to make this statement and I'm going to object to it. So if that happens, don't be over there sipping your coffee once we get to this line of questioning. So I think there's something there, and there's probably something they discussed beforehand.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. I do. But again, I don't know. It could be something more to it.
Is it okay? Is it okay for her to throw signals to her to tell her to eject?
Yes.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
I thought the other judge was doing the same thing to Mrs. Love, and he got in trouble about that.
Nah. I mean, these... yeah, listen. These... Judge Glanville and Brian Steele probably have the same membership to the same golf course. All right. So they be talking. They're out here having conversations, ex parte meetings all the time. Stuff I think a lot of us would be surprised about. Having lunch at the same place, hanging out in the same spot. So, I mean, to see in an open court, I think is kind of interesting, but this isn't anything new.
So you telling me that it's okay for the judge to tell Miss Hilton to object?
No, I don't think she's telling her to object, but
yeah.
But I mean, we've seen it.
Watch it.
Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen it before. We've seen judges say, "Hey, do you want to go down this line of questioning?" Or a judge will interject and say, "I don't know if that's a proper question." So things are pretty loose. When it comes to these trials. Obviously the judge can object, but if she hears something that's a little bit iffy, she could say something, she could let it go. It's her courtroom.
I thought that Chicago politicians was corrupt. That system down there is corrupt so bad. I mean, the court system is so corrupt, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, we're probably going to get into that at some point. Someone mentioned that to me, I believe, in the comments of one of the videos where I asked y'all what you want to cover next. So maybe we'll get to that a little bit later point.
Okay, so what you think's going to happen with this trial?
Oh boy, if it were to end today, I think it would be not guilty, just because the jury doesn't know what happened and the prosecution hasn't shown or proven enough to me as a juror that Young Thug was a part of this. If it goes further than that, I don't know. We still have yet to see, because the prosecution, I know they have more evidence that they're going to present when it comes to phone calls and different levels of geo tracking. How much weight that's going to have on the actual case, I don't know. But when it comes to a jury standpoint, that could sway them either way. But right now,
that's
it's not.
Saying about the young guy that's going to come to testify right now. What about him?
Lil Woody?
No, not Woody. The one that's coming up after Lil Woody.
Yeah, I don't know.
The one that pleaded guilty.
I don't know. I'm not sure of who they were calling next. So you would have to tell me. But
the heavy guy that they finna call up after Woody, supposed to be, that he pled guilty and he took a plea deal.
Is it the guy that I just mentioned today?
Yeah.
Oh, Antonio Sledge?
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to add much to it, honestly.
You don't think so?
No. I mean, I don't know what specifics that he knows or is alleged that he's aware of, but when it comes to everything surrounding what went down the night Big Nut was murdered, I mean, Woody is saying this is exactly what happened. This is who was here. This is who was there. This is how I had a part in it. And Antonio Sledge seems like he was just an innocent bystander in some sense. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Enjoy your holiday.
You too. Thank you. All right. I'm going to get one more phone call in here. and then we're gonna keep it moving. Y'all are talking crazy in the chat. Let me get a couple more of these super chats too. Let me see. We got FFS. I think I read this one. He says, I wouldn't even dream of entertaining a plea deal. I've been asked to take a plea in the past. My response was, only if the plea is a dismissal. Shout out to you. And then he also says, she's talking about Lil Mike and Quez. Yo, FFS, you gotta stop talking about my brothers, man. I am not giving up Lil Mike and Quez. I know where they are, and I'm not telling you. I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and get 718 in here, and then I'll get y'all up out of here.
Brooklyn.
All right, we got Brooklyn back in the building. Brooklyn, what's up, Brooklyn?
Good morning. Good morning.
Could you do me a favor? Could you turn off or mute your YouTube, the YouTube video, because there's going to be a delay.
Yeah, it's closed.
All right, what's on your mind, Brooklyn?
I have one question for everybody. Who would you rather on the streets? YSL or these clowns?
Which clowns are you referring to? Because there's a lot of them.
Or the Woody, all these other characters in this trial.
Okay, so chat, he is asking y'all, who would you rather on the street? YSL, we're gonna put that in quotation marks, or go ahead.
Would the streets be safer if YSL is free and all the other ones are in jail? Or YSL in jail and everybody who took a plea bargain is loose?
Everyone who took a plea bargain. Ooh wee. That's an interesting question. You want me to give you my, well, you give me your answer and then I'll give mine.
I think YSL, if he goes out on the street and puts up a clip to help the community get the kids off the streets and into schools, and he makes that part of his life, he's better off than being locked up for the rest of his life. He'll do more than sitting in jail and all the other clowns going in and out of jail every year.
Yeah. Now you took it, you gave the same answer that I would, but you took a little bit of a different route. You took more of the community route. I'm going to take a little bit more of the analytical route. For me personally, I would rather have YSL out on the street. And here's why. I haven't seen anything other than a lot of circumstantial quote unquote evidence and a lot of hearsay. And to be honest, uncertainty in this trial that I don't even know YSL is a thing. I know they're guys that make music. I know, okay, they had a lot of guns and I know they had a lot of drugs. What big record label or artist group doesn't have a lot of drugs and guns around? And then secondly, when it comes to this beef with Big Nut and everything that was going on, how is that influencing the community in the streets? I mean, it's unfortunate that there's shootings and drive-bys that go on, but if they had issues and they settled the issues within the gangs, I mean, what's that got to do with me? I'm not going to be over there on Cleveland Avenue. I'm not having to worry about going up to the gas station on Cleveland on 221 Cleveland Avenue. So,
but if you lived there,
out
and you had someone who opens up schools that educates these kids to get off the street and get an education, Woody's going to be back in 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Sledge is going to be back in, let's say, 15 or 20 years. He's not going to finish probation, 30 years. But YSL has the power and the voice to make a public video and help these kids.
Do you think they will?
What?
Do you think they will?
YSL?
Yeah.
If he goes out and gets a not guilty verdict,
mm-hmm.
the streets in Georgia are going to be on fire.
Yeah, I agree. Young Thug is going to have the greatest year of his career if he gets a not guilty verdict. Period.
And all the snitches are going to be scared of their life.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't know what's better, if he's locked up or sent free.
Nah, I haven't seen anything that says Young Thug needs to be in jail at all. I'm gonna be honest. Other than the fact that he may or may not have had some beef with the guy who got shot and killed by somebody else, and then the state thinks that he had something to do with it. I'm not seeing it. I don't think he needs to be in there, period.
But he's putting a bad character out to these kids out there. If someone has money and he can lawyer up, he goes free. All the other ones, they go snitching and killing people.
Hmm. Yeah,
Gunner is out. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. I'm saying free YSL. Like, this whole case is just a mess, and the state hasn't done their part. So if anything, maybe they could start over. I just don't see that happening because it's already been so much of an expense and so much of a waste of time, and so much time has been served. So
I know, but he's not going to give up. Even if he gets a non-guilty verdict, he's going to go after him for something else. Tax evasion, something else.
Yeah, I think, well, if it goes not guilty, I don't think she's going to have to take this L and let this one go. Focus on Trump or something. I don't know. I appreciate you calling in, Brooklyn, though. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Labor Day. All right, Brooklyn in the building. Interesting question. Who would y'all rather have on the streets? Would you rather have Lil Woody, or would you Lil Woody and Antonio Sledge and Gunna out on the streets? Which I don't know. I don't want to put Gunna in there with them. Or would you rather have YSL? Casper says YSL on the streets could teach everyone about the court process, why everyone on the streets needs to stop wilding out. Yeah. Now we have to say, I mean, Thug in his music, he has, I don't want to say glorified, but he hasn't necessarily downed the street life. That would be a nice change to hear from him if he gets not guilty or if this goes to mistrial, but we'll see. Shout out to For Fug's sake up in here. She's talking about Lil Mike and Quez, I think. Man, get out of here. And then he also says, neither am I. We were all chilling at Club Crucial. Oh my gosh. Y'all know Club Crucial is closed. Say that 5 times fast. Club Crucial's closed. Club Crucial's closed. I can't do it. For fuck's sake says, Bad Boy 100 times worse. They got P. Diddler free wines. And then shout out to Paradox True up in here. Been a membership for 1 month. Says, why haven't they gone after YFN so hard? Maybe Fanny's keeping that one in the bag. But I think there's a lot more to that one as well. Dang, I have one more topic. Y'all really don't want to hear about Diddy. I was going to cover Diddy today. We were going to talk about Diddy, but I'm going to save that one. I think I'm just going to make a dedicated video to it before that story gets too old. Thank you to everybody who supported. Shout out to Paradox True for being a new member over there. Thank you to everybody that calls in. I appreciate y'all, especially on this holiday, for calling into the show. We're going to be back tomorrow. I'm going to say tentatively at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll start covering the trial. But if y'all don't want to miss any time that we go live, all you have to do is hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any time I drop a new video or that we go live here on the channel. I will see y'all tomorrow morning. If you want to hear some dope music from some amazing independent artists, you can tune into the Song of the Night live show right here on the ClassE Beats YouTube channel tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be giving away $100 in cash, a brand new Shure 55SH microphone, and you have a chance to win 4 door prizes. So make sure y'all stop by the show tonight. I hope y'all have a great rest of your Labor Day. Happy early birthday to Mr. Brown, and I'll see y'all in the morning. We're going to get Lil Woody back on the stand. We're going to have a redirect from the prosecution. It's going to be crazy. All right, y'all know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace.